Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Miraculous Ladybug, and the new Powerpuff Girls, among others. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
Today, Delaney and I will finally be discussing the Miraculous Ladybug Origins episodes. Woo!
Woo!
We are finally completed our long viewing experience.
At last.
From the beginning of December to the end of the early June. We have finally caught up on Miraculous Ladybug. We'll discuss both parts of the Origins here. We can now say spoilers for all of Miraculous Ladybug. We watched in French. We've been watching in French for most of the series. We watched the first half in English. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com or search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes, your favorite podcatcher. The Overly Animated Podcast will now and in the future be your go-to place for Miraculous Ladybug discussion. We'll be continuing to have weekly discussions. We're past our episode discussions. We're going to start doing our Steven Universe model and have roundtables with specific topic discussions every week. Co-host Justin is catching up, so we'll have some combination of me, Justin, and Delaney discussing Miraculous Ladybug topics. Next week, we are going to discuss season 1 as a whole. We're going to get into the webisodes. We're going to discuss ships, characters, favorite episodes. Needless to say, if you're a Miraculous Ladybug fan, this is probably one of the best places on the internet to get high quality Miraculous Ladybug discussion. Subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, leave comments, all that stuff. It's going to be great. But for now, let's get into Ladybug Origins. I don't even know what the Stoneheart and whatever. I don't even remember what the parts were called, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And it is Stoneheart and Ladybug and Cat Noir. Okay, that's not a okay,
nice.
Don't care about that title. I watched these yesterday, so I'm less of an immediate reaction. But Delaney, you just watched these.
Yes.
What's your reaction to the Origins episodes?
I'm just completely blown away by, I don't want to say that, I wish these had been, the first episodes, or that, but, I feel like watching, dealing with some of the episodes that weren't as, amazing or anything, it made these episodes make it so worth it. There's just something in these two episodes. It's just, I don't know, there's some sort of energy, they're just amazing, and I'm so glad that, we started watching the show, and, to me, these two episodes just sum up, everything that's just so powerful and wonderful about this, this seemingly innocuous show about, middle schoolers as superheroes, but, this is just amazing. I don't know, it's just, these episodes, they're so great. Seeing, we talk all the time, Marinette's so confident, as Ladybug, and, she's still kind of shy as Marinette, but, she's getting there, and it's, seeing her, really seeing her unfold in these episodes, and it's interesting, kind of this, this isn't the Adrian we thought we knew, watching, it's just, everything in these episodes are just, this is what Ladybug's about, and I'm just so, these two episodes have me really, just exponentially excited for, even, I thought Volpino was incredible, but these two episodes, this is what I'm excited about for, this is what I'm, these make me excited for season 2. I'm so glad we're getting more. This is, it's just incredible. I'm just completely blown away. I didn't, I was expecting, I was really excited for the Origins, everyone's really, oh, you gotta watch the Origins, it's so great. When they came out, everyone was freaking out, it's a super big deal, and it just, oh my god, I finally understand the hype around this show. I finally get it after covering it for so long. I get it now. Cause these two episodes, they're just it.
You can tell Delaney is very excited when her rambling is slightly more incoherent than normal. But it was pretty great. Slightly.
Is that saying that was fairly coherent, or does that mean I'm generally incoherent?
Oh, definitely the latter is what I was.
Oh, thanks, Dylan.
I agree. These were really good. I don't know if I was quite as blown away as you. I don't know what my reaction would have been.
I don't know what I was. I don't know what. I don't think I really was. I don't know what I was expecting from these two episodes, but what we got wasn't it. I guess and not in a bad way. I mean, or maybe it was because I didn't have expectations. Maybe that was it.
Yeah, this is these two episodes serve somewhat like the beginnings Avatar 1 type episodes from Korra Book 2. Like they have kind of that mysticism or beginnings type element to it. Combining that with like such a literal episode of the show, has a really good effect. It's like combining like the answer from Steven Universe, that fairy tale type effect, but grounding it in a concrete episode of the show and concrete events, I think does, have really good effect. And, to me, like, one of the most notable things that I've been thinking about is like, what if we watched these first? Like,
Right.
how does that change the experience? Cause these totally could just be the first two episodes you watch of Miraculous Ladybug.
Yeah.
And certainly these were last for most places that, I don't even know if it's everywhere, but, it's just, I don't know. Is it better? Is it worse? Like, it's not, it's just like literal the beginning. We have exposition dump in the beginning of part 1. Like, okay, I didn't expect that. This is the opposite of the show that has an exposition dump. I do think like the first episode, the second episode might have made more sense if definitely would have made more sense because you have all the mechanics explained here.
Right.
Yeah, so I like that about it. I think it's probably more powerful here after we speculating about a bunch of stuff. I mean, we get concrete numbers about the Miraculouses. Like, we know where every single one of them is except for like 2 of them. I don't even know. I don't remember. We'll go over that. But maybe we know everyone is. But we get I do think these 2 episodes function somewhat as like a mythology because everything's very neat.
Yes.
You get, I mean, just the thing that stood out to me most is Alia's role in this is,
oh, yes, 100%.
Alia literally being the first one to witness Ladybug and like instantly like starting Ladyblog. It all just seems very convenient and like, not in a bad way though. And just in like, everything's very neat and tied together.
Well, it's very much a Peter Parker Spider-Man kind of thing going on here, you know? Like, it just works. I mean, the only way it would be more like, you know, if Alia was Ladybug, like, honestly, it just works. Like, it's so much comic book and so much superhero, but it does it without being like annoyingly so.
Yeah.
And this is arguably the most like superhero-esque episodes of the show. Of course, it's the origin story. Of course, what's more superhero and comic booky than like the superhero's origin? Nothing, but
they're very tropey and, very, yeah, they seem somewhat typical, but like in a good way. I agree. It's like I think one notable thing about these 2 episodes is they do a better job establishing our 2 main characters potentially than the rest of the series combined.
I agree and disagree in that, I think actually that I'm so glad that we saw these 2 episodes last because to watch the series and, get to know Marinette, get to know Adrian, but then to watch this episode unfold and to see how Marinette became the Ladybug that we know, I think it's more powerful in this way. Like, to see her become Ladybug, if we had seen it first, we'd be like, yeah, Ladybug's pretty cool, she's cool. And then to watch the show, like, yeah, Ladybug's cool. But in this way, we got to know, it's more, we already know Marinette, we already know Ladybug, we already know Adrian, but then to see her transform in this episode, I think this is probably like the most brilliant way this episode, like, for its placement, is to get to know these characters and then to know Ladybug, Marinette, confident superhero, everyone loves her, adores her, and yeah, she's nervous, but she seems really just shy and nervous around, the guy she likes, but in this, we see the actual transformation. And I think that's really it does establish the character, but I think we can't forget that impact after we've already gotten to know her and then to see this transformation.
Yeah, I agree. It's good because of the placement that it has been placed in. I do think that this is probably intended to be aired where it is. If these 2 episodes were aired first, they would seem very contrite characters.
Yeah.
But Marinette and Adrian are very much stereotypes, or not stereotypes. Yes. They're like caricatures in these episodes. Yeah. And the reason it works, I think, is because we see the full depth of them throughout the season. I do think that is
because we don't have to get to know them. We already do.
Yeah.
And And honestly, like, that's probably the best thing to do, especially for, a tropey superhero origin story. Like, we all know the roles, we all know how the pieces fit together for a superhero to become a superhero. But we don't have to see that first. And to see, like, to get to know the superhero and then to find out the beginning, I think that's just so much.
I think that these two episodes, this is a future talking point. I'm going to throw it out there. I think these two episodes, putting them where you do, if you're the creators of Ladybug, show a desire to go past season 1 because we clearly have this established dynamic, and now we're doing something different and showing the origins of that dynamic. I think the natural move is to go beyond the established dynamic you had, or else why would you only show that in the first place? Like, I think if you want to keep with the season 1 dynamic, then you show these 2 episodes first, lead up to the series dynamic. I think doing it this way leads up to change for the future series.
100%.
Yeah. There's a lot here. Random things that stand out to me. My number one favorite thing about these 2 episodes is that Marinette is not instantly in love with Adrian.
Yes.
That's like,
it's so great. Also, this episode made me ship it.
Yeah.
Made me ship it.
Yeah, like, this was clearly the best, I don't even remember, Marinette and Adrian shipping episode. Like,
also Cat Noir. Like, I was even like, Cat Noir, Ladybug. I was shipping it. Like, Cat Noir is somehow not unbearably annoying in this episode, and it's wonderful. Like, I just, like, literally watched the entire season. I'm like, Cat Noir. I mean, I like him, but, Cat Noir. This episode, just...
Yeah. It's a really great Adrian episode. But there've been a solid 5 episodes which just establish all of Adrian's character, and I kind of wish there were. It was consistent throughout the entire season. Right. We might have had a more favorable aspect of him. But I really do this episode really does more to convince to us who's not like the us people watching who are not as ingrained instantly into the straight romances, right? Like. Right. That, cause it's a lot of the appeal to Marin and Adrian is just like innate. Like if you're into that type of thing, and then it's just you're liking it. But I don't think the series does a lot, initially. It does eventually get there of convincing you that these are 2 people who should be a thing. Like they're like, that's both their point in their lives, their dynamic. And the scene in the rain at the end of, part 2, clear, like a better shipping job for Marin and Adrian, I would say, outside of Gamer than the rest of the series combined. Gamer was a very good episode for the 2 of them, but
definitely
it's that scene in the rain is cinematic, spectacular, and if the rest of the series had such a consistent quality as that, then the show would be extremely good.
Also, I think it helps so much in that, like, specifically with like Cat Noir, is that we get to see why he fell in love with Ladybug.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we look at Marinette and we're like, I love Marinette. Who wouldn't love Marinette? Look at her. She's perfect. Ladybug's awesome. Duh, love her. But it's to actually see, like, him fall for her, I think is, like, that's number one best thing you could have done. Good job. I
think that was good. I actually think, like, I think that's second for me to seeing why Marinette, likes Adrian. Like, I think that's number one.
No, that's second, like, that's
also very good. But, like, just to me, like, it's one of the less appealing aspects of the show for someone in my position is Marinette's incessant, like, stumbling crush on Adrian. Right. Seeing that it's actually from a basis of, like, interactions and, like viewing him as a person and, rather than the cute boy, like, teenage type crush thing, really elevates that aspect of the plot to the levels, to a level in that it is, like, not only not one of the weaker aspects of the show, but maybe one of the stronger aspects of the show. Like,
well, they introduced it. She's not even like, she's like, why am I stuttering? And then Tiki's like, oh, cause you got a crush. Like, Marinette doesn't even know. Like, that's like, it just happens. Like, that's what's so great about it. It's not, we watch the season and it's like, okay, this is like so stereotypical, whatever, okay. But then you actually see the actual origin of it all, and it's not what you think at all. Like, it actually makes sense, and it's so like, And it's for once, I'm like, okay, they're in middle school. This makes sense to me now. Like, it's just so sweet and, like, young. And I think it's, like, and instead of being kind of like, this is kind of, like, weird, like, they're kind of young. Can we, like, not do this? Like, at last, it's been presented in the kind of, like, sweet, innocent way it should be viewed as, in this finally getting, like, the beginnings of it.
Yeah.
It finally clicks.
It really, these two episodes, the ultimate thing is they just bring the whole season together and the show as a whole. That aspect in particular. I know there's a lot of people listening probably were into it like way before the origin story. And I mean, I was like enjoying their interactions. It's not to say I wasn't, but as a larger plot device, I think that was kind of nowhere and now it's everywhere. And now it's like everything. Like this is like extremely necessary. And, it's so interesting to have this last because I didn't know that it would be a thing that made sense and like had actual basis in deep plot and character interactions. I always thought it would just not be a thing, and now it is a thing, and I'm very happy. Like it's very different. It's very interesting to see the past 6 months of my viewing of this show. Like we literally did once a week, so it took forever. To just be transformed in my view of their dynamic. And it's not like showing this. I'm not exaggerating. Like the scene at the end and their interactions. It's not like anything's particularly deep, but just it's so important to actually establish this their feelings as in a character basis. And not only was Marinette like not like instantly crushing on him, she was like actively upset at him.
Yeah,
it's great. It was so good, so good.
In the context of it all, in that. At first you're just like, okay, whatever, they work together and, he has a crush on his partner or whatever. But then you find out that the way Ladybug and Cat Noir are supposed to work together is that they're part of a whole.
Yeah.
And not to say that has to be romantic, and as a given, but like to understand that they're not together by chance. And it gives it all more meaning. Like, okay, like, I'm not really that into soulmates, but who isn't gonna be like, oh my god, like, they're like yin and yang, like, you're gonna,
well, that's
like,
literally what the,
literally what it is,
as,
literally what it is. But like, that idea, like, just more context to it all, and just being like, oh, it's not just like, they're meant to be partners, this is, they work really well together, and just, I don't know, it's just, to me, it's like, understanding, like, kind of why the way that they are, like, why. It's just to understand and to finally have the big picture.
Yeah, I do think this episode gives, like, literal Ladybug and Cat Noir, like, much more meaning.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's why, like, cause, like, obviously, I had begun to ship Marinette and Adrien, like, before. I mean, but obviously this made me, like, actually, like, this is it. Like, this is, and then to finally for me to be able to ship Ladybug and Cat Noir, like, it's because of all of this context, and it's just, and to see him fall for her is just great.
It was very good. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say I'm shipping Ladybug and Cat Noir at this point, but
I mean, he's still really annoying.
It certainly helps. I've been in on Adrien and Marinette for a while. I'm certainly been in on Ladybug and Adrien.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite. The other two I'm still not in on, despite the Origins episode.
Also, I mean, we still have to acknowledge that the moralia is real in these two episodes.
Oh, it was very real, yeah.
It's so real. Like, they don't even know each other. It is just, like, so real.
That was another thing. We had almost every ship, like, kind of pay off. Like, we had an incredible Marinette and Chloe moment. Like, we had, Alia and Marinette, and we had, I guess we didn't have Nino ships. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we had, obviously all of our Marinette and Adrien stuff. Last major thing I want to talk about before getting into specifics is, these we've talked about it a little bit already, but the kind of like Marinette's arc in these two episodes I think is pretty interesting. Like, as we're going through the season, I'm like, okay, we don't like Cat Noir that much, and the comments I kept seeing is like, yeah, but you're not like understanding that he like gains more confidence when he's Cat Noir, and like he has to be more of his true self. I find it interesting because that's literally Marinette's arc in this, in these Origins episodes. And I think that line of thinking I also think it applies to Cat a lot. But I think that makes, that's clearly like Marinette's, arc in here. I think it's done very well. It's very, very not subtle, but I do think it's great because it, explains, Marinette's like clumsiness, which seemingly was random and just for the moe, but
Right.
not anymore. It actually has a foundation in something here, which I very much liked. And I also think, I don't know, I just really loved the Marinette's like, I don't deserve, or like, I can't be Ladybug. Like,
Right.
literally, she hands it off to Alya. Like, it's so
I mean,
good.
he's like, here, do this.
Yeah, like, oh, if only that had happened. Like, where's my fan art of Alya as Ladybug? I'm sure
Yes.
it's out there. But I just think it's really great for Marinette's character this entire episode, and that specifically this like confidence thing that they hit on. I think that was very successful.
Yes. And also, like, it shows so much about, like, Adrian, like, being the hero, lets him, like, be, true to himself or whatever. And it's, like, it's so interesting because he didn't even let Plog finish. He was just like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
power me up.
We definitely had it. I definitely understood a lot of what people are saying here with telling me throughout the season. Adrian's definitely like gung ho to escape his situation. I don't think it's as much. I don't know if I interpret it. And again, we haven't seen the webisodes yet. Right. We'll cover those later. But I don't know if it's as much like true self as much it is like coming into his own type of thing. Like, I'm very hesitant to see Adrian as like Cat Noir's his true self in Adrian.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because that's very unappealing to me.
Well, I think he's very much embracing this idea that he's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And I think for him, it's not so much his true self as he's experiencing freedom for the first time in his life.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the route we're going. And to me, that makes so much more sense. And it's a lot more like relatable and understandable that like, he's finally, hello, it's literally the entire episode where you see Adrian, like, sprinting away from his car. Like, I gotta get away from y'all. Like, whole time, just Adrian just running away from his house. Just, bye. Trying to get to school.
Yeah.
Of course, when he gets superpowers, he's like, bye. I mean,
it was pretty great, his reaction to, like, not letting Plog finish everything. It was very good. And then, just not understanding anything once he was there.
And then it makes sense, like, when he's at school, that he's, this kind of shy Adrian that we thought, is more like the real Adrian, because, like, he never went to school. He doesn't know. He's like, what are people? I don't know. How do I make friends?
I do think, my impression from these origins is that, actual Adrian is more Adrian than Cat Noir. I think that's an exaggerated version of him. And I do think he's going to be more outgoing in his once he gets past this, probably, I would say, abuse from his father.
Right.
But I think he'd be like more outgoing and more confident. But I don't think he's Cat Noir. I think he's Adrian.
No.
Yeah.
No, Cat Noir, he's this, it's a persona. It's something, like, it's not really who he is. It's just like this, it's a mask to put on.
Yeah. I will say, whenever they've shown Adrian in any sort of detail this season, like, I don't think anything that they did here with this character was super different from what they did this season. I think that was like what they'd hit on this a few times. But, it's just that he was not in the spotlight for over, I would say there's like maybe 4 other episodes where I got a true sense of his character. And I think every time they showed him heavily, he was sympathetic as Adrian, like, nice cat. And I think that, I do think kind of our non-reaction to his character throughout a lot of the season was, in large part due to how the show handled him and in putting him into the background. I will say that.
Well, hello, the whole time we were like, and even like, the audience is always just like, and I say the audience, I mean like, the people they save, they're always like, Ladybug's awesome! Like, there's like one person, like the whole season's like, Cat Noir, like,
one guy,
come on. Literally that one guy. And of course, like, how like when you have something like framed like that and they're partners but everyone only cares about Ladybug, like how else are we supposed to deal with that? I mean, they've sidelined him. Like, we talked before about him being, I'm like, he's not as confident as Ladybug, this and this, and then to find out actually, and we talked about this before, I think when we discussed, Ladybug's just more powerful than he is, she does basically all the work, and then to find out that they're actually really, like, meant to be partners and to be equals. I mean, that's honestly very shocking when you look back on the season.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by the mythology that they're supposed to be, like, the same.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's like, I'm like, you told me this, but I don't believe you.
Because at one hand it says, they're the two most powerful. They're like, opposites in the powers they grant. But on the other end, it's also like, and Ladybug gets to do all this stuff. So it was a little bit incongruous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with Ladybug, being the end all be all because she is. But
I do think there's something a little bit off with the mythology when you try to present it like that, but I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Let's start to go through the episode. Let's at least go through this exposition dump in the beginning. By the way, no confirmation on Adrian's dad being Hawkmoth. I do think in retrospect, Volpina did confirm in everything but name only. But at the same time, I was expecting to see like an actual confirmation, and we did not get it.
I got really excited when they were doing like the pan up shot of his body, and then they were like, "He's wearing his mask," and I was like, "Darn it! Why?" Yeah. Teasing me.
Okay, to start with, the Miraculouses. We finally open the thing and see all the Miraculouses. I don't know if we'd seen this before. I don't think so.
Well, you've seen glimpses of it in the intro.
Okay. So in the middle, we have the yin and yang with Ladybug and Cat. They're two Miraculouses. Then surrounding them, we have 5 Miraculouses. We have the butterfly, controlled by Hawkmoth. We have the green wristband, controlled by the old dude. Yep. We have the peacock, which last episode, as pointed out by a listener, we saw that in Adrian's dad's safe.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it could have been a different peacock thing, but
how many peacock things are running around?
Adrian's dad probably, aka Hawkmoth, probably controls 2 Miraculouses. And then we have the foxtail and the bee. Does old guy have those, or are those missing? Or I think old guy has those, but you just watched it.
I don't. I mean, I didn't really catch.
Okay, we'll go through my outline.
Box.
Yeah. So that was the box. So there's all the Miraculouses. We saw past Ladybugs. That was kind of interesting.
That was great.
2 Miraculouses more powerful than the others. Ladybug granting the power of creation. Black Cat, the power of destruction. So let's talk about that, because we hadn't really...
Yeah.
I don't know how convinced I am with these strict designations.
Yes.
I do guess like Ladybug's power is Lucky Charm, which makes something out of nowhere.
Literally creates something.
And then Cat's power is Cataclysm, which is intended to destroy something by touching it. So I do buy it on that level.
Yes. In a very literal sense.
I feel like Ladybug's bigger power is that she can turn everything back to normal. I don't know if that's creation. But
my thing is she they present Lucky Charm, but literally the entire mechanism for this origin is that she doesn't capture the Akuma. So in my mind, that's the most important ability that Ladybug has.
Ability, yeah.
So is that really creation? To me, that's like purification. She can turn darkness into light. It's literally what she does.
Yeah. That ability, by the way, seems very specific to Hawkmoth, who it seems like in this origin is not intended to be a villain. He's kind of perverted a Miraculous. So I don't know how that ability would exist.
Yeah, that's and then it's like only Ladybug can do it. And it's like, why?
Why? Yeah. Who made this up? Because in theory, there hasn't been a Hawkmoth before.
Yeah. In theory, like this, what are you doing? Stop that. That's wrong. Like, they haven't dealt with this before. And we've even talked about that. We talked about when we talked about with Pharaoh and all that, is that we're like, oh, so they've just been fighting Hawkmoth for forever. No, that's clearly not the case.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there still is room for it to be the case. Maybe someone else has perverted the butterfly,
but I don't know, the way they act like it just seems like this is like, oh, what are you
Miraculous. Doing? Yeah. It does seem like that's not how it's supposed to be.
It seems like a novelty, like, oh, we have crazy butterfly.
So I think that's a hole in the mythology, but maybe not. Give us your comments. So those who control both will have absolute powers. That justifies.
Well, it's also like it's not like she would have just developed that ability to like, deal with him. And so it's just interesting that will we find out that ability serves a dual function?
Yeah, maybe that's part of some larger ability. Yeah,
because it doesn't. Because the only reason we only see her do this because he's evil. He's not supposed to be evil. So theoretically, if it's Hawkmoth or the Papillon, like he's supposed to be like, if he's a good guy, do their abilities work in tandem somehow?
Yeah, I don't know.
What? Very confusing.
It's all interesting. Yeah. Like another kind of floaty aspect of the mythology. Those who control both have absolute power. I don't buy it, but it does justify Hawkmoth's actions. So
one, we finally understand why. Okay, you want absolute power. I'm fine with that. You're a supervillain. That can be your motivation.
Yeah, he literally has said that in the past. He said, "I want to take over the world." So there you go.
So and then it's interesting though. It's like you have absolute power. So he wants the Deathly Hallows. So power over life and death, technically. Creation and destruction. But then it's like, so you have both of them. Do you just wear the earrings and the ring, and is that how that works? Are we going to see him wearing earrings? Because I'm about that.
Is Hawkmoth Voldemort? Is that what you're saying?
He is Voldemort, basically.
Okay.
He's or Dumbledore. I mean, whichever one you want to think about it.
So is Nuru Nagini Ren, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm buying that.
He's a reluctant Nagini.
So Nuru, his Kwami, Hawkmoth has the purple butterfly brooch, okay. So we've been praising these 2 episodes, but this is pretty stupid. Allows you to give a superpower to someone and make them your champion. That's what the butterfly brooch does. Buy or sell that power.
I don't even...
Nope, sell. I'm selling it. That's a stupid power. You're just asking for this power to be used for evil. Why?
Honestly, you are. It's just literally hey, this is such a good idea. No, it's not. Why? Stop.
It's a stupid
power.
Don't
do this.
You can't even use it yourself. He has no power. You can just make other people.
Literally, yeah, think about, I guess being able to control people, but seriously though, if you can control, also, isn't that kind of insulting? Okay, look at all these super cool Kwamis and abilities, but your power, you get to pick other people.
Yeah.
What? It's the lamest thing ever.
But we're burying the lead here.
Yes.
Hawkmoth has a Miraculous, and that is why he is Hawkmoth. So we didn't know this. I do think you in particular at some point speculated this, and I was like, no. Because this is stupid.
Look at me.
I maintain that it's stupid, but it is where they've went.
No, it's stupid, but I figured it out somehow. I don't know.
What's your reaction to him having Miraculous and that being the source of his power?
Well, it makes sense given the mythology. To me, the more interesting part is that, he's, it's a Miraculous gone bad. To me, that's, the really interesting part is that we have these, cause of course it's the tropiest trope to ever trope, it's falling in the wrong hands, it can be used for evil. But then it's cause he's the literal representation of what he wants to do anyway. He wants to take the Miraculouses and use them for bad. And, we're okay, that's, okay, you're a supervillain, you can have dumb reasonings for that, that's cool. But then to actually see, he himself has Miraculous and he's evil. So it's okay, this is more of you kind of get it a little bit more, You're okay, this is kind of a bad thing, because look what he can do.
Yeah.
It gives a little bit more depth to him, he's not, he appears to us to be evil for the sake of evil, which, that's fine, he can be that way, he's a supervillain, that's what they do. But then to see, though, that but then we also have to think about this. Was it, just watched it. So, he gives, he's talking to the Kwami, and the Kwami's yeah, you blah blah blah, you can do this, was it, was it clear that he stole the Kwami, or, cause the Kwami was just kinda talking to him, and then he was basically was just evil monologuing, and the Kwami was whoa, stop.
Right.
Whoa, so to me this means was he chosen, and then he just which actually, I think that's what happened, because then the Guardian earlier said, I've made one mistake in my life, and so I think that's what he meant, is that he chose him to be, the Papillon, but then it turns out, nope, you messed up, Guardian, that guy who picked you up off the street, nope, you fell over and he picked you up, but bad egg, messed up.
Okay, so a few things. So one, I don't think it's clear that you have to necessarily be chosen to control a Miraculous or Kwami.
Right.
I think that's up for debate.
But it's kind of heavily suggested. We literally see him do it to 2 people, and then and then before he leaves, he's he's like, I've made one mistake in my life.
He did say he made one mistake. That's probably referring to Hawkmoth. I agree. This guy is only 186 years old.
Yeah,
so it's not like he's chosen every superhero throughout history, right? So it's possibly the predecessor,
but
and everyone.
But to have a title like the Guardian, that is, you would assume that is a title that is passed on, just like Ladybug and
potentially, yeah. He also has he has a Miraculous himself, so who gave him his, right? Why does he get to control the other ones? Why does Green get to control everyone else? There was no established mechanic for handing down of Miraculouses. It's possible Hawkmoth can just find one and it's his because he found it. Finders Keepers.
This is true.
Maybe that's the mythology is Finders Keepers.
Maybe. It could be. We don't know.
Yeah. So either way, his Kwame has to obey him. We know that.
And we have and he wants to steal them. So clearly it's not something like you weren't chosen. It doesn't work. No, you can just take it. That's cool. So we don't know. But it seems to me heavily suggested that the Guardian messed up and Hawkmoth was like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. If that is true, then it is very likely that he knows that Adrian is his Hawkmoth's son. One would assume. That's a
good point.
Because he went to the mansion, he sees them. If he's the one who gave Adrian's dad the Kwame in the first place, so he would know that, which is interesting. I feel like if I were him, I'd be like, like father, like son, like maybe that's not a good idea, But he was, I guess he saw past, right? It's possible.
And then also he might have some kind of ulterior motives there, trying to get back at him, and then also. Think about, so Adrian, wasn't allowed to leave his house. He was homeschooled and all this stuff. So there's, to me, I think what's very easy to assume is that because his mother disappeared, that his father became super crazy overprotective. That's a pretty easy way to go. But I think also either in combination with that or simply this is the reason why, if Adrian's dad is Hawkmoth and, supervillain and he kind of ticked off, another superhero, he could reasonably, and if you can literally create supervillains, I would reasonably be afraid for my child's life. So that might be a reason why he's keeping him secreted away, is to keep him away from the Guardian.
Yeah, I think that actually does make sense. I hadn't really thought, or to keep him away from the Guardian.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll potentially keep him away from his own creations. How about that angle?
Yeah, both. It can be both.
I think it makes sense on that angle a lot. That is maybe why he's doing it. Interesting.
Well, he said something like it's dangerous out there, and it's
and it's his. And it's my fault. So Yeah, that makes sense. And when you need to attract superheroes, what's more efficient than creating supervillains? Says Hawkmoth. Buy or sell that logic.
He's not. Well, okay. Let's think. Well, if you think about. Well, if we think about it in that, let's operate for a few moments on the assumption that the Guardian chose Hawkmoth, and then Hawkmoth was like, "LOL, bye, I'm gonna be a supervillain," and then he's like, "Okay, so I want the other ones." Okay, so if I start making bad stuff happen, the Guardian is going to have to select others, and that even could have been an incorrect assumption on, maybe he was playing his hand a little too much. Hawkmoth might not know that. That the Guardian has the other ones, but he's just, gotta take a chance. So I think there's so either way, I think it makes sense, if the Guardian gave him, chose him. Granted, I guess but the thing is, we know Marin and Adrian don't know the Guardian, so there's a really good chance the Hawkmoth didn't know the Guardian. He just ended up with it, he got chosen, but doesn't know the Guardian.
I don't know how much the Guardian comes to play. At the very least, he wants the Miraculouses, and that doesn't, irrespective of the Guardian, I think to a certain extent. I do think,
him having the, obviously the Kwame's explained, but I don't think, okay, so it makes sense that Plog and Tiki were like, oh, there's another superhero and you're supposed to be partners and work together. That makes sense that they talked about that. Doesn't really make a lot of sense though if, the other Kwame's oh, there's this superhero and this superhero and this superhero. I don't think that's necessarily strictly explained, especially as evidenced by, Adrian in the book. He's like, oh, who's this? They didn't know. So I feel like there's a maybe Hawkmoth knew more before he got the Kwame and all of that, he kind of manipulated or whatever and ended up with it, so he knew more information, which is why he was oh, okay, so there's other Kwames. and not knowing whether or not they've been given out or not. He's like, okay, if I make villains though, like, I'm not the only one, there are more. So like, he obviously already knew, like he had to have known more. I don't think it was just the Kwame, him being like, oh, I'm gonna be a supervillain. I think this took a lot of planning, and then since he already knew more and about them, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'll just be a supervillain. They're heroes, is what they have to do.
I don't completely follow, but I do think it's interesting to like look at what Hawkmoth knows, what his initial motivation was, et cetera, et cetera. We can get more into that later. For the line of attract superheroes, create supervillains, I'm selling this logic. I don't know what this is based on. I guess tropes. I think he's reading too much TV tropes. Well,
I think it's really fun. The funnier part to me is not his logic. It's like everyone immediately being like, "There's supervillains in Paris." I'm like, whose first thought is like, if this happened, like,
right? I was thinking about
if we had rock people like just come out of nowhere. I'm like, my first thought, and I'm just like comic book crazy, wouldn't be like, they're supervillains. I'd have been like, there are like golems outside. I don't know what we're supposed to do about this. And it's just, that's what's really funny to me, is that it immediately is like, we have supervillains. Like, I feel like supervillain's a title you earn like later.
Yeah. So very quickly on this, this is the one thing I thought about since yesterday I watched it. I believe this is, there's ample evidence within these episodes and the entire series to the Miraculous Ladybug alternate Earth theory. Ding, ding, ding.
Oh my God.
But, no, really, I do think that, this is a world that has developed, within the understanding of cultures throughout the entire world and peoples throughout the world that have like some sense of superheroes and supervillains from the Kwamis, and that's just throughout the part of history. So that's kind of innate knowledge to them that these are real things. That's why they reacted to this. I mean, what's notable in this episode is just how much like everyone doesn't freak out about the events happening. So I think that why is like the whole world not waging war on like the golems? So I think that's all evidence that this is a world that has been through this stuff in the past.
Well, when they've talked about it, I mean, they literally showed us like Ladybug through the years.
Right. They at least showed that, but I also do think it's proof that like it's part of like culture. Like I think that this is things that's real to these people.
Well, what's interesting about it though is that we also have Alya, and she has, the superhero on her phone, and that's one clearly a comic book. That's what that was. That's what it looked like. And
so it's also an element of their fiction, much like us. I don't think that contradicts it being an element of real.
It's not necessarily. It doesn't contradict, but it is a little weird because if you look at, obviously, comic books can do whatever they want, but like when you look at, DC and Marvel, those aren't like in common comic book, like in the comic book universes, typically you don't have fictional superheroes and real superheroes. Like, you're just like, Superman, he can't, he saved me, and like, you have that stuff. You don't really have like the fake superheroes, and you have the real superheroes. So it's an interesting, like, I'm interested to see
it's an interesting,
about it. Because like, the reason we have superheroes is because they're not real, and we think that's super cool. It'd be really cool to be a superhero or to have superheroes. We don't have those. That's why we make stuff up about them.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's anything logically that says that we can't have like fake and real things. Yeah,
no, we can, but it's an interesting, like, it's kind of an interesting twist on like the reason superheroes exist in the first place.
I agree.
Like, we have superheroes.
I agree. It's very interesting.
Also, it actually suggests to me that these people, Ladybug, like, they call them superheroes, but like to them, Ladybug and Cat Noir might be different heroes to them than the comic, than the woman that was on Alya's phone. Like, they might be like,
they might be separate schemas or something, right? Yeah,
they might be different.
Hard to conceptualize this type of thing. Very different from our world.
Also, to be fair, we're also watching this in another language, and they're saying superhero, but they actually could be using two different words, and we don't know. Yeah,
our weekly disclaimer is we're watching a fan translation, so we'll see. Nuru says that they're not supposed to be used for evil, and then he's Nuru, like, unwilling transformation with Nuru. I think it was pretty interesting. Yeah. He says transforme-moi. So I thought
also, what a terrible, like, okay, they just have to say transform me. And like, and of course, like,
transforme-moi.
Yeah, but they just have to say that. even if they don't want to. That's horrible. Like, it is like the worst mechanism ever.
Yeah, I don't feel sympathy.
You're literally asking for a supervillain. You're asking.
You are.
Okay, you can have a guy who can make other people have powers, and you have this you're asking
stupid
for
power.
a supervillain.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like the big red like self-destruct button. Like you asking for it.
It doesn't add up. Yeah. You're not going to make me feel sympathy for Tiki with this forced transform me thing. Not happening. No sympathy for Tiki.
No, it's not that. Oh my god, though, this episode, okay, can we talk?
No, Tiki, no, we don't need to talk.
No, listen, she's in the glass, and then she if this makes you more comfortable. And then she gets out of the glass, she phases through the glass. Oh my god,
terrifying.
Well, to me that's terrifying, and then also that's kind of sweet. Tiki, you wanted her to feel more comfortable, even though you could probably rip her apart.
So Tiki in this episode, super cute. And then, Tiki in later episodes, a mind of her own, trying to guide Marinette's actions. So therefore Tiki in 5 seasons, supervillain. That's the direct trajectory we're on. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, I won't lie though, every time Tiki snuggled up to Marinette's face, I got feels. They're cute. I don't know,
Nope, not me.
I can like Tiki and be terrified of her at the same time.
You won't make, nope, I'm not feeling things for Tiki. It's not happening.
I don't know, that's, the glass scene just got me. If this makes you feel more comfortable, and then she phased out of it. She could have left the whole time.
That was, terrifying.
Also though, she can phase out of things, but then she gets thrown out of handbags, come on.
And she has to Toy Story, it doesn't make sense. Okay. Very quickly, I have something to bring up, we're already at 50 minutes and we have a ton to cover. Very quickly, I don't understand how the emotions of how the people Hawkmoth affects have anything to do with the mythology that was established in this episode regarding Hawkmoth. I don't understand why he needs to affect an emotionally vulnerable person. I know that's been established for a while, since episode 1, but I wasn't convinced that this was an innate aspect of the Kwame miraculous mythology that they gave us. I don't get any of that. Why does he have to wait until that person's emotionally affected again? I don't see why I should be convinced based on anything that they presented to us as facts.
It could be, no, based on that, it makes 0 sense. I have a few ideas. It could be a product of he's doing it wrong. He's perverted these powers. And so it could be a product of that. Cause then he's not really, cause they said, choosing people. And if you're a superhero, you're not just gonna be you're a superhero and you're a superhero and you're a superhero. I feel like it's gonna be more careful consideration, and that person has to agree. They have to accept to be this, give some consent before, just start making people superheroes. But, cause it's literally become my champion. That's kind of a knight squire kind of thing, protector kind of deal. But then on the other side of that, as a hero, it might have something to do with you want, happy, brave people. So it might be in that way, there could be an emotional effect. I'm hoping at some point we'll either see a flashback, or it's explained that when, Papillon was supposed to be what he is, that it was people who were happy and they are brave and, or, now this doesn't really go along with the champion idea, but if when people are scared, he can give them the ability to save themselves and others. In emergencies. If they're, negative emotion of fear and that kind of stuff, they can become heroes.
Yeah.
So, to me, all that's interesting. It's not presented at all.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think they might go in that direction. I like to preemptively sell all of that in terms of the mythology that we know. I think none of that makes sense, but I could see that what they do. Of note, by the way, Hawkmoth can give these people whatever powers he wants. Why are you giving them the worst powers, the stupidest powers? You seem to have some control over this. Their powers relate to their emotional distress they're in. Right. I don't understand any of that within the context of mythology.
Well, the thing is, it's always the same emotions. It's jealousy and anger and...
It's all the negative emotions, yeah.
Yeah, it's not...
So I think they're clearly doing something with this, with him being a villain and how that affects them. But I do wish that they tried to explain it in some sort of context, which they gave us. They were mythology dumping here, and none of it makes sense with what we know. So I didn't like that. So we see the old guy, the guardian, the master. I've seen him called Master Fu on the description, but I don't think that name has been said in the show.
No.
But we're caught up, so like we know. Maybe that's in a episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's been named by creator tweets. Whatever.
Yeah.
Call him Master Guardian. His green Kwame named Waze. Is it Waze like my app, or is it
Please.
Like
I don't know.
I don't know. This he's the green bracelet. He says we need to find Nuru. He says he's 186.
Like wow.
So okay.
So we weren't kind of wrong about the immortal thing?
Is his miraculous giving him old aging powers? Is he just like naturally really old somehow?
Well, the thing is, like, so I mean, literally, there's part of the episode where he's like, I'm too old to do this, and so he's clearly aged. Which, I mean, immortality, you can like live. I mean, he could live forever and just be like, we could have some Face of Bow stuff going on. I don't know, but it doesn't, like, to me, like, it would make sense that if you have a Kwame and like that connection and being a superhero, that could ironically extend your life. I mean, when you think about it, you'd think being a superhero would just drastically reduce your lifespan, but maybe it doesn't.
Was he superheroing in his life? One would assume, because he is the miraculous. I don't know. We don't know anything.
Because, I mean, I would buy maybe, like, being in touch with the miraculous, like that. I mean, sure, you can be a superhero, maybe it prolongs your life. I mean, when you think about it, you would think that superheroes would die young, but who knows? I mean, I don't know how the Kwames work. But it's just like 186, like, that's not like immortality age. Like, I mean, he's obviously, like, no one lives to be that old, but
yeah, it's not as old as we thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I'm very curious about it. Like,
yeah. We'll see. We don't know enough. Keeping track of our comparisons, Master Fu is Jack Harkness and Hawkmoth is Voldemort. Let's continue. Let's see what else comes up as we keep going.
How many references can Delaney make in this podcast?
He says we need new heroes. He has the miraculous chest. We'll come back to him in a second. Marinette, Chloe's going to be in my class again. And her mom's like 4 years in a row. Like, okay, I did.
Also, I called it. This was the beginning of the school year. I just want it to be noted that she's just.
Yeah, but like okay, but which school year is it the beginning?
Dylan, I feel like they've presented it pretty obviously that this is the beginning of this school year.
Sell, not obvious. I agree that's the most likely, but I'm selling that.
I mean, I think like, so we see, all the episodes we've seen, like, they're in the middle of the school year. It's not
sell.
It's
Chloe's 4 years in a row. I like that this is like their plot thing. It's like Chloe again. Like, okay. Marinette's like, I have bad luck. Her dad being adorable, sweets for Marinette's
her family just makes me so happy. Like, yes.
She made a new logo for the bakery. We throw in that she's like actually artistic because we always forget about that.
Yeah, we always forget.
We lose track of that one. Runs into Master Fu crossing the street. Disaster is my middle name, says Marinette.
Okay, can we talk about the fact that, like, sweet, shy Marinette just, like, throws herself in front of her car and just, like, bodily drags this old man.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, good.
No, I'm about it.
So this Master Fu's test to see who should get the miraculouses is to put himself in mortal danger, like mortal peril. Like, what if this went wrong? Then who would pass on the?
Then my question is, like, how does he, like? Has he been, like, stalking them? Like, how? Like, 'cause my thing is, like, okay, if I just saw some, like, two random kids, I wouldn't throw myself in front of a car, like, immediately, 'cause, like, both of them could be terrible. Like, I don't know if they're gonna rescue me.
I think so. I think that for Marinette, at least, it was not necessarily a specific test for her. It was just like, who's gonna save me? Like, who has this character who is around the heart of Paris at this time?
To be honest, when I was watching it, like, this, like, I feel like Adrian seemed more
specific to him.
Yeah, because this one, which
makes sense if he's targeting Hawkmoth's son, right? Yeah.
So this, I feel like, I really don't think he knew there was a car coming at him. Like, to me, this seemed more like an accident. Granted, they also could have been doing that to sell the fact that test.
No. This was intentional. He was trying to test someone around him.
It doesn't make sense though, like, to do that, like, just with. I mean, okay.
I agree it's stupid, but I think that was what the episode was.
It's even dumber though than like the Captain America grenade thing. Like,
wait, what could be dumber than that? I was like,
but this is dumber though, because like when you army, you assume like out of a bunch, like, and also what's his face was trying to make a point and was trying to get, the big buff guy to do it. He wasn't expecting scrawny Steve Rogers to crawl on top of it. But this, like, you're just surrounded, but you have no idea who these people are. And, I'm a fairly optimistic, kind of positive person, but I do not have that much faith in just complete random strangers around me that if I was in mortal peril, I would, to the point where I would not put myself purposefully in mortal peril if I had no idea that, like...
Yeah, it's stupid.
Silly.
Anyway,
I would buy it more if he had stalked Marinette a little bit.
Yeah,
not that I'm okay with him stalking, like,
I don't think it was specifically targeting Marinette. That was my read on it. But it's not clear.
It's still, like...
It's pretty stupid. Anyway, Marinette, Steve Rogers, Master Fu's Jack Harkness, and Voldemort is Hawkmoth. Okay, continuing. He's he's the small miraculous chest, which turns out to be just the Ladybug earrings. New girl, Alia, like, who's Adrian? I love this. Like, man, it's like, who's Adrian? Who's that? Like,
I got so excited though when I found out like Alia was like
Alia's new kid.
Girl. Because to me, like, them not being friends yet was just like the best
really good,
that's the best thing that could have happened to me was them not being friends yet. Like, I was just like, oh, so good.
Yeah, it was really good. Alia nerding out about Majestia, which is the equivalent to you nerding out about Supergirl. That was my comparison.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she basically looks, to me, she was like Miss Marvel. Captain Marvel is what she looks like to me, but but I am Alia in this moment.
I don't know if I think I thought of Wonder Woman when I saw that character. I don't know.
She does not, no, she looks like Captain Marvel, kind of.
Whatever. Adrian wants to go to middle school like everyone else. He helps the old guy, yeah.
I would not be that excited to go to middle school. I'd sit that one
out. Yeah, but
out.
he's the eager, it's same, but he's the eager homeschooled kid who doesn't know any better, right? So.
Ooh, man, just wait till high school, kid. Like, don't go to middle school. Just hold out a little longer.
Yeah. Ivan and Kim. I did not expect Ivan and Mylene to be our Heart of the Origins episodes.
No, I did not. I mean, it's great.
Was not expecting that. Kim being a jerk. I feel like we're sympathetic towards Kim, so I don't really understand that. But
I mean, well, then also, like, if we're gonna be fair, like, okay, obviously he was being a jerk, but I mean, the note didn't really come off like. I don't know if it was necessarily like. Well, the note where it's like you're too chicken to blah blah blah, like that's almost like maybe just a like. Kind of a mean-spirited, like, friend thing to say, like...
Yeah, maybe they're friends, yeah.
Like...
I don't know.
I mean, I would get ticked if someone said that to me, but, like, I feel like, to me, that, like, after we found out what the note said, I was kind of like, maybe, like, obviously, like, be upset, that's cool, but I was just, like, I don't think it was necessarily, like, as cruel as it might have come off as originally.
Yeah, potentially. Kumatizes Ivan, Stoneheart, Alia's freaking out. Adrian's dad to him, you have everything here, Adrian. Don't go outside. Like, okay. Oh my god. I didn't know it was like that extreme.
The super scary, like, metal, like, guards make sense now. That he can press a button and the windows get covered. Now it makes sense.
In what regard?
That he lives in a fortress.
In what regard?
I mean, if he's like, you don't go outside, it makes a lot of sense now.
Oh, because they're trapping.
Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
Also, potentially because he's trying
a super
to
villain,
guard him from himself, right? I like that angle. They each see. I like the scene of them seeing Miraculous is at the same time.
What's this?
What's that thing? A cockroach? A mouse? A mouse roach?
Oh, a mouse roach. She's
really
so ridiculous. I just enjoy like. Obviously Adrian's doing like crazy stuff, like climbs up rock wall and jumps, but then like. I feel like Marinette honestly had the more appropriate reaction, just immediately launching stuff at Tiki. Like,
oh yeah, it was great. I was like, this is for me. This scene, throwing stuff at Tiki. I'm a fan of this.
This is the appropriate response when you see something like Tiki, because Tiki's scary.
Yeah. Marinette throws things at Tiki and then traps Tiki in a jar. Adrian's like, wow, a genie out of a lamp. Like, oh my god, you're literally 5 years old, Adrian. Like, come on.
Also, it's just so, it's kind of like what we talk about with Powerpuff Girls. Like, things individual to their characters. Like, this was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is a typical, like, their individual reactions to an event. It was very good. And when I say Adrian, you're 5 years old, he kind of is, because he's probably very emotionally stunted from the abuse from his father, right? So, okay, cut back to Master Fu. He has the orange foxtail and the yellow bee.
Okay.
Which were the only two left, I believe. In his record player, which is housing his miraculous case. He says, I've made one mistake in my life. I won't make another one. I wrote down who's he talking to, probably is Kwame, but it is not clear who he's talking to. So if this is true and he has the foxtail and the bee, this accounts for all of our miraculouses. If Hawkmoth indeed does have the peacock.
Okay. Interesting.
So Hawkmoth, peacock in his chest, very, very briefly, potentially, Adrian's mom.
Let's say, what if she was
the peacock? Right. Yeah. That would be my big theory,
that would make a lot of sense if superhero gone bad.
Yeah. Maybe they were the Marinette and Adrian, the superhero team, couple. And then something happened to her. I've been told that we've had word of Godded that she disappeared, not died. So whatever. I didn't read the episode like that, but
becoming like, it would kind of make sense. I want to be master of, like, creation and destruction, and that kind of wanting to save, like, thinking that becoming all that powerful he can save. Which again, that's Voldemort wanted to cheat death. Dumbledore wanted to, like, make up for, like, Dumbledore had weird.
I really love the idea of the idea of Adrian's dad and mom, like, being the original, like, superhero couple, and now that's Adrian. Like, I really like that. And
it gives a little bit, and if that is the reason why he wants to be, wants to have the miraculouses, then obviously he's still a villain. Like, don't, like, blow the world up, dude. Like, calm down.
Yeah,
but
calm down.
Does it? Kind of gives, it doesn't really make sympathetic, but it makes sense. Like, it's like, oh, you're not just, a megalomaniac. Like, something happened and you think doing this will get her back.
I don't know if I'm at the point where any of his behavior makes sense. Like, all of that is very much an implicature, so we'll see if any of that's
that would be an interesting way to go.
Yeah, it would be interesting, I agree. Marinette's like instantly like, why you picked me? You should go to Alia. Like, she loves super. It's like, oh my god. It's so good, like, that this is instantly her. Like, the fact that she's, like, meeting Alia before, like, becoming Ladybug, I think that's really interesting.
Well, and then then she's like, oh yeah, my friend. And then he's like, well, and basically kind of like the Dow, I think we're friends. Like, oh god, you guys make me hurt. You guys are so cute.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. Adrian's like, oh, okay, let's go. No, wait, I didn't finish explaining to you. Like, oh my god. Yeah, that's pretty great. Adrian pretty adorable in both these episodes. I was pretty a fan. Super Yo-Yo. They run right into each other.
Oh, we didn't talk about how amazing it was to see the transformation of Ladybug and it being like really awkward.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like, what is going on? That was amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
And then Adrian's transition was
the same.
Unreluctant plot, like reluctant plot, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, I like how they become themselves and they literally run into each other. Like, you don't have any time to coexist independently.
No, just boom.
She says, I'm maladroit. Like, okay. I don't know what that translation is, but yeah, that's like a weird English word, right? Like, so, I guess that word could come from French. They could have just been saying that word, but, yeah. So she's allowed to say, like,
maladroit. It's ineffective or bungling, clumsy.
Yeah, it's
Cheers.
a word. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, I knew it was a word, but I didn't know what it meant. Like, I'd heard it before.
Literally about to say her name, and then and this is just infuriates me more that he never figured it out. I feel like there's more of a infuriating moment later.
Well, now I'm like really sad that she called herself Maladroit. Like, now I'm just sad.
That's her whole arc, though, in these two episodes.
I know, but it's really sad that she called herself that she wanted that to be her superhero name. Like, that's tragic.
Yeah, it is pretty tragic.
That is just the saddest thing.
Marinette is kind of self-inflicted tragedy for the beginning of this, I think.
Yeah.
All about gaining
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Very much a teenage, like, lack of confidence type thing. Right. Everything going according to plan. The Miraculouses are back. They rush to protect the population, and my supervillain will crush them, says Hawkmoth. It's like he anticipated the Miraculouses coming back. I don't really understand.
I mean, well, it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like, I mean, I feel like it makes sense that, like, that's why he did it.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how you didn't know they would come back. Maybe this supports he understands the Master Fu head.
Well, that's what I was talking about. I mean, that's why he did it, because he's like, superheroes attract supervillains. So, like,
yeah, I guess that was his
That's
theory,
why
right?
he did it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when he did complain. He's like, ugh, they're so heroic. Like, he was expecting to win the first time, but then he still gets what he wants, because he has confirmation that he can steal them now.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's an interesting leap for me. Alia filming their first battle immediately, and she's like, what are you waiting for, Ladybug girl? Everyone is counting on you. Like, the concept that Alia is like the initial one to see Ladybug and to encourage her, like, I don't know.
Well, they set it up so well, though. Like, honestly, all it took was Alia being like, just immediately just babbling about superheroes. I mean, that's me right now because I'm obsessed with Supergirl. But that's great. Like, that's such a simple setup, and it works so well.
Yeah, I think it's good. I do think
also, I think it sets a good foundation though for their friendship too, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, they just met at the beginning of the school year, and now, like, I mean, they're so close. Like, we're just like, oh, their friendship is so good. And then also we ship it because obviously, and it all just fits.
Yeah, I think it was very good. Although,
and I buy this more honestly that because she was the first to encourage her, and Marinette seems to draw a lot of strength from Alia. That it makes more sense to me that like they haven't been friends for forever. That they've just been friends for kind of a short amount of time. Like, and they're close. It's like this makes sense. Like, I honestly buy this more than if they just been like, oh, Alia and Marinette have been best friends since kindergarten. Like, I buy this more.
Yeah, I like it better this way. I agree. I think it's good. One time use after 5 minutes to transform. Lucky Cha calls her Alia like to her face. So I don't understand how she doesn't understand. Like,
literally later, Alia's like, I'm gonna find the girl behind the mask. Like,
yeah,
Alia, you're hurting me like intensely.
The problem with this stupid mechanic of hiding the identity is like we have no choice but to assume Alia is dumb because of this, right? And she's not. So I don't know. It's frustrating. I
mean, I still like to pretend that like in Pharaoh she like figured it out. Like she knows, but she's just gonna let Marinette like pretend.
Yeah, I would love Marinette like. She has to tell Alia before Adrian, and then Alia has to be like, "Yeah, obviously I know." Like,
duh. I figured that out like months ago.
I figured that out like 20 episodes ago.
Please, that's what I want. That's what I.
It would be really good if they go that way.
I'd probably be happy if they did that.
Adrian says, "You're awesome, Miss or Ladybug. Good job." So I think he like names her. Like in that regard, but he doesn't like acknowledge that he names her, which is interesting. Like,
well, I mean, he says it first, but I mean later she's like Ladybug.
Yeah, but later she calls herself that, and then he's like, "Wow, your name's Ladybug," right? So I think that's interesting. Ivan's note, Mylene and note, Ivan, how do you know my name, Miss? I don't remember. Is this after the detransforming or something, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then they're like, oops, we have to be careful with our identity. Alia filming. Alia like films that too, so they should, how has no one figured this out? Anyway, you're gonna save Paris now. Were you bitten by a radioactive ladybug? It says Alia.
Pretty good.
Oh my god. Okay.
So that suggests, I mean, okay, so
that they have Spider-Man in their universe. Yeah.
Further evidence that they have fictional superheroes and actual superheroes.
Yeah. So, do they have the new Spider-Man movie? Is that going to be in the canon? Anyway, who's more plucky with their identity, new Spider-Man or Adrian?
I don't.
They're pretty similar.
They're basically the same when you think about it. So
more stone hearts. You called me Ladybug. More stone hearts. You captured the Akuma, right? Akumas can multiply. That's why we need to capture them. Interesting.
Okay, when I'm glad they explained that because then it's like, okay, cool.
I guess that makes sense. I can't. I'm too clumsy.
Also, I really enjoyed their, like, you captured it, right? And she's like, what?
Yeah.
LOL.
I can't do anything without Ladybug. And then she takes off the earrings. Then like Tiki's gone.
I actually kind of got really sad. I was like,
That's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know if we knew that or not. But whatever.
Well, my question is like, so she only exists when like someone's wearing.
It's a hallucination, is what we're saying.
It's a hallucination.
Yeah.
Marinette's on LSD, confirmed.
No, but the other people see Tiki. Okay, yeah. So I guess that powers her life force. That's stupid. Okay.
Well, it's super sad when you think about it. Like every other, like when if someone isn't there to be Ladybug or Cat Noir to be the superhero, then they don't like they seemingly don't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, episode 2. We'll go over the quality of them after. Alia with her Ladybug. Alia's confident in Ladybug. Ladybug, like, existing from the start. Remember, it took us, like, 7 episodes to get to Ladybug, by the way. I should point out. So, sequencing of episodes. Get irritated, Ivan. Your Akuma awaits, says Hawkmoth. Okay. We had something with Chloe and Adrian. She calls the first instance of Adra Honey.
And then she proceeds to say it like 6 times in the span of 30 seconds.
I'm a fan of the Adra Honey nickname.
I mean,
because
like,
it makes no sense in English. That's why it's great.
It's just like the most.
I assume it's I assume it's a pun in French or something, but like, okay. Write her a song. Stay positive. Says Marinette coaching her now. Yeah, Marinette's. I like if Marinette just couldn't capture the Kumas, then her whole job would just be life coaching everyone and like telling them to stay positive.
I'm okay with that. She can. I want Marinette to be my life coach. Like I think I could.
Do you? She's great, but
I mean, she did kind of a good job here. I mean, it worked.
Marinette's got her own problems. I don't know if I need her.
She's got her own problems. She did a good job for her first life coaching. I mean,
guess so. Yeah, she did.
Considering the girl just became a superhero, let's cut her a little bit of slack.
Literally.
It's kind of stressful.
The day of sneaks, she puts the earrings in Alia's bag. Like, oh my god, this whole thing was. Where's my alternate universe fic about Alia becoming Ladybug instead of Marinette? Like, where's that fic?
I'm holding out so hard for Alia, like, to have one. We know the other 2 are there.
Delaney, 1, where's that fic? 2, why haven't you started writing that fic?
I mean, I won't lie. A minute ago, I just had like this brilliant idea for a Ladybug fic.
Would it involve Alia being Ladybug instead of Marinette?
No, unfortunately it didn't. But, I mean, it could happen though. I mean, I'm about it.
Okay.
But no, I would love if, like, if she became, like, we have 2 other ones. She could become a superhero, which I'm down for. I am ready for Alia to be a superhero.
Yeah.
I'd even be okay with Nino being a superhero. I mean, I'm not as excited about Alia though, but I mean.
Yeah, I think my ultimate goal would be for, I don't even remember our new character's name anymore from last episode. Whatever, her being actual Fox and then, Alia being B. I think that would be my ultimate.
Please.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
B Alia would be great.
Yes.
Sees Adrian and the gum, as friends with Chloe, the only friends I had, and then Nino.
Actually, no, I take it back. I don't think I could tolerate the Marinette and Alia not knowing it's each other. I don't think I could tolerate it, actually.
Okay.
I had to take it back. I think I'd have
I like how you were thinking about that and not what I was saying. Like, I
was listening to you, but then it was also like, wait, I have to take it back. I think I'd have a stroke from trying to watch that. Like, I don't think I'd be able to handle it.
We need Alia as the B, and then this like love square with Alia, New Girl, Adrian, and Marinette.
I don't know if I could handle it. I think
that's my season 2 pitch. I know they're probably almost done with season 2, but there's my pitch.
That would stress me out so hard.
It'd be pretty great. What do you think of what's his literally the main villain of the episode? What do you think of Ivan's metal love song?
That was pretty great. I liked it. He started screaming immediately. That's pretty good.
Stoneheart answers here, takes Mylene and Chloe. Alia leaves.
Kong.
King Kong. Alia leaves without her bag. Marinette sees Alia in danger, decides to be Ladybug again. #gay. I wrote on the outline.
Yes, that's literally what happened. Also, can we talk about how she chased her down with the bag? So she'd be like, "Here, you need your bag." Like, Marinette. Oh my god. Like,
Marinette's, let's emphasize this though. Marinette's main motivation for continuing to be Ladybug is saving Alia. Let's just note
yay.
that. Like,
Ship
come
it.
on. Like,
Yay. Also, all of the shots of them is like, it gets all like shimmery and like shiny when she looks at her. Literally time slows down when she looks at Alia. Twice. This happens twice. Like, this is gay. Just gay.
yeah, it's pretty great. My lady, blah, blah. Oh, you're quite the jokester. I love this. Like, the origins of, that's her first reaction to, Kat making a pun. Oh, you're quite the jokester. And it's all downhill from here. Like,
it just gets worse.
Like, you don't even know the beginnings, Marinette.
You don't even know.
You're quite the jokester, huh? Like,
oh my god.
Yeah.
If she had known.
If she'd only known, then she would have, instead tried to take his Akumas and give them to Alia and not have to deal with.
Yes.
That's the other.
Give me your ring. We're done.
Stoneheart throws Chloe, and then Ladybug princess catches her, and it's like the gayest thing I've ever seen.
Also, that's also like the first time Chloe's been like an actual like horrific danger. Like, just throws her.
It's and then my lady Chloe or whatever. Yeah, it's great, and two just super gay moments in her own. It's like the best. Yeah. I'm not cut out for this. Kat gives her a pep talk. Stoneheart spits out Akumas in Hawkmoth's face. Okay, so
first when you talk about the cops and they were like, "Oh yeah, oh no, we don't need you." Really? You don't need them. Really?
You didn't really see clueless cops in the series until now. Yeah, interesting.
Like,
so this concept of the butterflies making up Hawkmoth's face. So in the last episode, we criticized the show for not having explained why they knew what Hawkmoth looked like. So here's the origins of them knowing what Hawkmoth looks like. So good job.
Good job.
Yeah.
We take back our complaining.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They could have just...
Well, it was valid at the time.
It was valid at the time, right? So it's not like, he introduces himself and makes demands to the city. Doesn't matter how long it takes, you'll be the one giving us your miraculous, said Marinette, right? So how do they know that he has a miraculous?
That's a good point.
Right? That was my question. Did they just know this all along?
Did they explain? I mean, I guess, if we're so the Kwamis, like, they clearly kind of explain things, like, they explain, we see it, but they also...
they must have told her, right?
Yeah. So I think it makes sense, like, well, they had to have, because they were like, you got the Akuma, right? So I feel like they had to have explained that they're fighting they had to explain the villain, like,
I guess
that's
that
the whole
makes
reason
sense.
they exist.
So we were the ones left in the dark on Hawkmoth. Interesting.
Also, this scene, it just, like, makes the whole show for me.
Marinette's speech, and then she does the giant, gotcha. I can't say it.
It was so
freeing you from evil, and, for all those ones, and it was speech to the city. Doesn't matter who's and then Adrian's like, doesn't matter who's under that mask, I love her. Like, okay. I mean, same. I feel you, Sam.
Yeah, same.
I don't know where Marinette instantly gets this confidence from. I guess the cat gave her a pep talk, but it's pretty great.
I mean, I think I buy it in that, in the face of this villain, and everything that she's seen that day, and, saving Alia, I think it makes sense, like, for the person we've been presented this entire, season, that who Marinette is. Like, Marinette, and Adrian, they're everything a superhero is supposed to be. They're, pure of heart, they're brave, they're kind, selfless, and I think for Marinette to be confronted with literally, like, the embodiment of evil.
Yeah.
And scary, like, black butterflies flying around. I buy it. Like, I buy that in the face of that, we saw the beginning of the Ladybug that we know.
Yeah, I think it makes sense if you view Marinette as, like, the pure of heart superhero angle, right? Yeah.
Which I think, and I don't think there's any reason not to see her that way. Yes, we've seen her stumble and, being jealous, being human, and, being a young girl, and, people make mistakes, and she's growing and learning, and I think, but she is, like, she's a superhero. She was chosen for a reason. She's clumsy and all this stuff, but, like, she still threw herself in front of a car to save some person she didn't know.
Yeah, I do think they do a good job establishing that, yeah.
Like, she's just so kind. I mean, obviously she's not nice to Chloe, but I mean, I'm not going to blame her for that.
She's sometimes nice to Chloe.
Sometimes.
She does save her here, so that's and in the gayest way possible, and it's great.
Yeah.
They're in love with each other. They just don't know it yet. I think Marinette says about Ivan and Mylene.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Lol, okay, Marinette. Like, nice line there.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you mean, but okay. I feel like it's going to be this way a lot with you and I, says Kat, which is like, yeah, you get it now. This is true. You're clueless. You understand. Good. Breaks the thing. Ivan and Mylene fall. Kat gets Ivan. Marinette gets Mylene, but Yo-Yo's the Akuma all at the same time.
I think this episode establishes what we've been wondering this entire time, that I do believe that this is Marinette figuring out what to do with the Lucky Charms. I don't think this is part of her abilities. Like, I think they've presented with, I don't think it necessarily augments her thinking or her mind. She's still Ladybug, and yeah, it may augment her abilities, but I don't think it augments, like, her mental capacity in any way.
I don't know if I was, like, more convinced by this episode. I do think that's, like, the case. I guess this episode is more clear on that than normal, but I don't know if it's, like, definitive or anything.
Well, I mean, in the way that they present, like, the Kwamis and, like, you have one Lucky Charm as your ability, and to me it was presented in that, this is what Lucky Charm does, have fun, figure it out.
Yeah, you're right, there's no explanation for that part, so, okay, I'll buy it, whatever. It's miraculous, I think, said Marinette about, like...
Yeah, because she's like, it's incredible, blah, blah, it's miraculous.
Like, okay, Marinette, chill, calm down.
It was great, I liked it.
Ivan and Mylene
I eat that stuff up. Yes.
Calm down, Marinette. We don't need to start describing, like, and then Marinette goes to school and starts just describing everything as miraculous, and, like, no one takes that as a hint. Like,
oh, so good.
Where's that fic? Okay.
So big. I'll make a list, Dylan.
Yeah, make a list. Adrian goes to school with the bodyguard. He's continue your music, fencing, Chinese, and photo shoots, and you can still go to school. So that's interesting, because I didn't know those were all dictated by his father, those activities. Right. We knew he fenced.
Also, the gym teacher is his fencing teacher.
Okay, yeah.
I saw him.
You saw him. Okay. I didn't know he took Chinese. That's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't. Did we know that?
Maybe. We may.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we knew that because he spoke to, Marinette's uncle.
Oh, I forgot that. I put that episode out of my head.
No, I mean, I understand why you repressed that episode. I completely understand.
I did.
But we did know that.
Yeah, you're right. We knew that. Did we know he played music? I don't remember.
I don't know if we knew that.
We knew Photoshop.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah. Marinette newfound confidence with Chloe, gives the cold shoulder to Adrian, which is like my favorite thing.
It's so good.
You tell her the truth, man, says Nino, and then they like fist bump that like at this profound advice, like, okay, this is not how 14-year-old boys work. Like, come on.
The double, like when he does like the hand motion he does, I'm just like, Nino, you need to chill. This
is like the most unrealistic portrayal of adolescent boys goes to the show. So there you go. Tell her the truth, man. Yeah. Like, okay, come on.
Oh my god.
Then we get the incredibly fabulous rain scene.
It's just this show ascended to a new level in like 30 seconds.
The scene is clearly better, more quality animated than the rest of the show.
Yes.
Which I think it deserves.
Like it ascended in like so many ways.
Everything's new to me, says Adrian, gives her the umbrella. I thought we were going to do the classic anime, two people under the umbrella, but no, he gives her the umbrella.
Same. Yeah. That's what I thought was going to happen too, but no, they tricked us.
They give each other looks. Tiki's like, yeah, you love girl, and then hugs her, and then Plog's like, oh, you have a girlfriend? And then,
okay, the Kwamis are so annoying. Can they stop?
And he's like, no, just a friend. A friend! Oh my god, Adrian.
Oh my god. Well, it was pretty good because when you think, like, because we talked about, okay, now I can't remember which episode it is. Oh, Gamer. That we were talking about, those are the two best episodes for Adrian and Marinette's interactions. And both of those episodes are the first episodes really that they actually like are acting like friends. And I think in Gamer they actually say the word friend too, which when you think about like, whoa.
Yeah, I do think them being portrayed as friends here and then not really interacting the rest of the show doesn't really make that much sense, I guess. Maybe Marinette just gets embarrassed and it doesn't move to the forefront, but this also, it also makes their interactions in Gamer more natural. So I like it on that
And also
level.
how Adrian interacts with her, like.
Adrian interacting with her makes sense, yeah. So they've been familiar the entire show because they established as friends, right? But I guess Marinette's side has been, hurt by her crush, right? So that's not,
right.
Yeah.
was like the autograph scene. That makes sense now.
Like now I'm looking back at 24 different episodes and I wish they were just friends more often. Like why?
Right,
we have the foundations here.
Well, maybe moving forward it'll be a little less crushy.
Yeah, I hope so. I think we've gotten to this point. So
yeah.
Okay.
Like we get, she has a crush. We get it.
What's in the how good are these two episodes? Obviously, there's a lot good about them. How good in the context of the other episodes?
I think these Volpina was awesome, and Gamer's a great episode. To me, these two, I think, just in the way that I have to make another Harry Potter reference. In the way that the first Harry Potter movie and the first Harry Potter book is special, to me, these two episodes are just so special that I can't really compare them to the rest of them, because they're just, to me, they will always stand out, and just the tone of these episodes, just everything that happens in them, to me, these are just completely stand out.
Best of the show?
I think so, but I also don't want to say that to me, they're so different that it's hard for me to be like...
Yeah, I agree with that. They're hard to compare.
I could say best of the show right now, but not necessarily best of the season, if that makes sense. Because are these technically part of the season?
Yeah,
I don't...
It's not clear. They might be independent, yeah. I'm not sure.
To me, these two are just, they're standout, very special episodes.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're special. For me, it's Simon Says still in the top tier on its own, and then part one of these two parts I think was much better, and I think that's in the top tier along with my favorite episodes, and I think part two might also be in that. I do think all of these stuff with Ivan, not as good as the rest of the episode. The rain scene at the end elevates part two, so it's maybe also in that tier, but I don't think either of these are I agree that they're stand out in a lot of ways. Pure quality wise, I think Simon Says is tops, and then I think there's everything else, and these two are in that tier below, probably, for me. We'll have time to debate, though. The rain scene, essential towards episode 2. Okay, I have screenshot selection here.
Oh God!
Spoiler alert! I already chose the screenshot because one of them is uploaded.
You act like it's always spoilers. You act like literally you've already decided every time you show me them.
No, this time I actually decided though. Okay, so number 1 is the Miraculous shot. Can you see them?
It's not loading. I'm clicking on, and I have to click on them individually.
Click on the last one's the only important one to click on.
Okay. Because it's literally on the website.
Yeah, okay, so that's why I chose.
It's literally
already uploaded it. I have to make that.
You're so ridiculous.
I have to make that PD 190 though instead of 189. Anyway, it's Miraculous. The Miraculouses. Then we have Alia photographing Ladybug. She's like, "Call me Ladybug," and her hand on her hips, and she's looking awesome. We have Ladybug saving Chloe, and it's great and the best. Okay. We have Cat with his arm on Ladybug's shoulder. In a non-disgusting way for once. That's good. In a pure way for the beginning. We have that.
Okay, it's finally loaded. I understand why this is the one.
We have the shot from the end of the episode with, it's pretty great. The closing shot with, them, just them and their Miraculouses and their Kwamis, and it's great. And then the last one, it's like, there's two clear standout shots that are numbers 1 and 2, but they're not together. There's Adrian looking at Marinette and Marinette looking at Adrian during the rain scene. So I photoshopped them together, and that will be
it's pretty good.
They're meant to be like one shot because there's this bar between them. It doesn't necessarily look like one shot with my Photoshop, but it's pretty great.
It's the umbrella. That's what's between them.
Oh, okay. I guess it's the umbrella. Yeah, they're both the most adorable, and
yes,
the animation is superb on both of them. It's we point out that every once in a while Marinette's face is super well animated. That whole scene was like that.
Yeah, the whole thing was just, oh my God.
Yeah. You agree with the selection?
Obviously, yes.
Okay.
That's their winner.
Closing thoughts. We've hit an hour and a half. I did promise an hour and a half Origins discussion. I didn't think we'd actually do it, but here we are.
You underestimate my powers, Dylan.
Yeah, this is all you. Closing thoughts.
Ramblings at its finest.
Yeah, definitely. Closing thoughts on Origins.
It's just so wonderful, and I'm so glad that we started to cover the show, and I'm really glad that these are the last two. This makes, I think, some of the downs of the season very much worth it, and I'm so excited to see where we're going. This seems to me, like we said earlier, that this seems to be very much a stepping stone, I think, to a change for next season. I'm very excited to see where we're going.
I do. I agree with all of that. I hope that is true. We'll discuss more of this next week. We are going to start, as I mentioned, our roundtable discussions. Next week will be a season 1 wrap up and look back. I think that we are probably going to record these Thursdays and put them out on Mondays, maybe? We'll see. I think it makes sense to put them out later in the week. So, Thursdays, I think that's our big recording day. Anyway, so we're going to get into all that. Season 1, looking back, the best episode, season 1 as a whole, maybe where we're going. Potentially, I might want feedback on how to handle the webisodes. Should we do them all at once? Should we do them in batches of?
How many are there?
It's 10, but they're short. So
okay.
They're probably 2 minutes. I don't know, but maybe we should do 5 and 5, or should we do whatever? So we'll see.
Let us know.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening throughout all of Delaney and I's episode discussions. You guys are great. These are high.
And putting up with us, asking dumb questions that you knew the answer to. Thank you. Thank you for putting up with us being oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm being oh my God, can you just keep watching, you idiots? Thank you for putting up with us.
It's not only were these our most listened to podcasts throughout this whole half year, you are also our most respectful commentators.
That's so nice.
Somehow. So after coming off of us covering RWBY,
you're so nice.
RWBY has the worst commentators, and you guys are the best. So thank you very much. If you made it to the end of this podcast, give us a hashtag
favorite reference. What was your favorite reference?
Favorite reference, favorite comparison. And
we had Harry Potter, Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I made 4 different Marvel and DC references. Just whichever your favorite was.
Tell us who you think that the Alia fake superhero, which
real
superhero she's most like. And
I think Captain Marvel. Let me know.
I'll say, I don't even remember. I'll say, what did I say? Wonder Woman. Let's go with that.
Yeah,
let us know all of that. Thank you guys for listening. Overlyanimated.com. I'm Delaney. That's Delaney Stovall. If you've enjoyed our coverage throughout all this time, please consider supporting us financially through Patreon. Patreon's a great finance system for podcasts. All optional. All just pay what you want to support people. You can
have a cool nickname.
Cool nickname. You can see more about that on our Patreon video that Mel and I recorded forever ago. Patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to Shayna, Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, Rachel, John, Ryan, and Catherine, aka Hayna, Favorite Metchcon, and Sleepy Exchange, Nathan Fillion, Buzz Lightyear, Mailman, Rachel Rose, Jenny Bravo, Brian, and Cook Cat. For me and Delaney, it's now time to go record 1,000,000 Voltron podcasts for the next few days. Man. For you guys, that has already happened, so check out overlyanimated.com. Hopefully we have finished by the time this podcast is up, and you can see all of our Voltron podcasts. New Voltron series released on Netflix. Thank you guys so much. We'll continue our Ladybug coverage. Look forward to the roundtables, and look forward to your comments on YouTube. Subscribe to us on overlyanimated.com and the website comments on Tumblr. Tumblr asks. Also consider us giving an iTunes review now that the season's over. What do you think of our coverage? And that's it. Thanks guys so much. Thank you to Delaney, of course, for covering a season. All this time with me, and Delaney's great, especially great today.
Thanks, I try.
And I try.
So many podcasts.
You couldn't have said that. You couldn't have said that in a more southern way.
Just,
oh my God.
I can't believe we got through this.
I
in the last 30 seconds.
In an earlier podcast, you said something really southern, and I had to control myself.
Well, earlier when we were talking about how incoherent I was expecting, when you said that, at first I was expecting you to make a comment about my accent slipping further and further.
I try. Thanks guys for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.